Let's dive into preclinical drug development.
Uh-huh.
Specifically, we're talking about stability testing.
Right.
Making sure a drug doesn't fall apart before it even gets a chance to help people.
Yeah, it's a crucial step.
It is, but how do you actually make sure a drug is stable? Like, what does that even mean?
Well, you got to think about the drug's journey from the lab to the patient. It goes through a lot,
Oh, yeah, of course.
like heat and cold, humidity, even light.
Oh, wow, I hadn't thought of all that.
Yeah, all these things can affect how stable it is.
So even just sitting on a shelf for too long.
Exactly. It can degrade.
So stability testing is about making sure it can handle the real world.
Exactly. We need to make sure it stays safe and effective the whole way.
Because a drug that breaks down before it reaches a patient, that's not helpful.
Right. It's like a flat tire on a race car, not going to get you very far.
So how do researchers actually test for this?
Well, we have these sophisticated chambers in the lab
Oh, okay.
that can mimic like temperature swings, humidity, light exposure.
So you put the drug through a stress test, basically.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And then analyze it to see what happens.
Exactly. We measure how much degrades over time,
Right.
if any byproducts form, and how its physical properties change.
Like color, texture.
Yeah, exactly. Even how well it dissolves.
Oh, like when a bottle of cough syrup gets all brown and goopy?
Exactly. You don't want that happening with your meds.
No, definitely not.
And those changes can be subtle, not always that obvious.
Okay, so what if a drug fails these tests? Like it doesn't hold up well?
Well, sometimes we can actually tweak the formulation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of like giving an athlete the right gear.
I see. So what kind of tweaks are we talking about?
Oh, it could be things like adding a protective coating to a tablet
Mm-hmm.
or changing the packaging to block out light,
Oh, okay.
even modifying the drug's chemical structure.
So it's pretty involved.
Yeah, there are a lot of options.
And what's at stake if a company just skips these tests?
Well, for starters, they could be putting patients at risk.
Right. Imagine a drug that degrades into something harmful before it's even taken.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. And I'm sure, there are strict regulations around this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We don't want companies cutting corners with patient safety.
Exactly. You're right. There are, organizations like the FDA here in the U.S.
Right.
and the ICH internationally that set those standards for stability testing.
Okay.
They basically, lay down the law
Oh, I see.
on how the test should be done, what conditions to simulate, how to analyze the data.
So they're kind of like referees, making sure everyone's playing fair.
Right. Exactly.
And making sure patient safety is the priority.
Exactly. These regulations, they're there to protect you, the patient,
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
to make sure any medication you take has gone through the proper testing.
Okay, so this is all very technical, but how does it actually, matter in real life?
Well, think about it this way. Have you ever had, a bottle of pills
Mm-hmm.
that changed color or started to smell weird after a while? Yeah, actually, I had some vitamins that went all crumbly.
Right.
After sitting in my cabinet too long, I just threw them out.
Exactly. That's a sign of degradation.
Ooh.
And while it might not be a big deal with vitamins, imagine that happening with, a life-saving medication.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what stability testing is preventing.
So it's making sure that my medication stays safe and effective all the way, from the factory to me.
Exactly, from manufacturing to you taking it.
Wow. I never really thought about it that way. It's like a whole team of scientists making sure my meds are good.
That's a great way to put it. They're the unsung heroes.
They are.
And their work is especially important now with, modern medicine getting more complex.
Oh, yeah, like how?
Well, like personalized medicine, for example, where treatments are tailored to your genes.
Right, I've heard of that. It sounds really promising, but also complicated.
It is, and it's a huge challenge for stability testing.
Oh, how so?
Because instead of mass-producing one formulation, you're basically making custom meds on a smaller scale.
So that must be way harder to, make sure they're stable.
It is. It's a whole different ballgame.
So how do they even, do that?
Yeah.
Is it even possible to make those personalized drugs stable?
It's definitely a hurdle, but researchers are, working on new techniques.
Okay.
They're experimenting with formulations, finding ways to protect these delicate drugs, and looking into better testing methods.
I see.
It's a constantly evolving field
It makes sense.
because we need to bring these new treatments to patients safely.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about how much work goes into, just swallowing a pill. It's so much more than I ever thought.
It really is, and stability testing is a key part of that.
Yeah.
It makes sure that the medications we depend on, whether they're traditional or those cutting-edge personalized ones, they actually work
Right.
without putting patients at risk.
Well, this deep dive has been so interesting. I feel a lot more informed about stability testing now.
I'm glad to hear that. It's a field that deserves more attention
It does.
because ultimately it's about our health and well-being.
It is. That's very true. Yeah, it really is amazing that something like a little pill goes through so much before I even see it.
It really shows you how much science goes into keeping us healthy, you know?
Right, and stability testing is kind of the base of it all.
Yeah, it's essential for making sure those connections between science and health are strong.
Okay, so before we wrap up here, anything else our listeners should know about stability testing?
Mm. Well, I think the big takeaway here is that every time you take a medication,
Yeah.
remember that there's this huge amount of work behind it.
Oh, for sure.
From those, climate-controlled chambers to all those regulations.
Yeah.
It's all to make sure you're safe and that your treatment actually works.
So next time I grab my allergy meds, I should think about all those scientists working hard to make sure they're good.
Yeah, exactly. It's really thanks to them that we have these reliable medications.
That's true.
They're dedicated to improving our health all over the world.
It's pretty amazing. Well, this deep dive has been so eye-opening. I really appreciate you taking the time to explain all of this.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Happy to talk about this important stuff.
It's definitely important. And for our listeners, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating look into the world of science and knowledge.